Space, the final subplot. These are the voyages of people as they run through the Starship Enterprise. Their continuing mission to explore the bromance of Kirk and Spock. To seek out old life and familiar civilizations. And frankly, to cowardly go where we have gone before. Yeah. We've fallen so low that this is realistic art. And this is abstract art. Don't mind Brie Larson, just try to pay attention to what I'm saying. These are some observations about J.J. Abrams' Star Trek. When his Star Trek movie was announced, and they said there was going to be, Kirk and Spock, I said, the first thing I said was to boldly go where we've already gone before. Because it was absolutely against the idea of Star Trek to do that. To just focus on the characters as opposed to the real spirit of Star Trek, which is to explore and to it's an idea driven show, not a character driven show. J.J. Abrams' Star Trek movie was the first time I noticed what I now call, I guess, connect the dots storytelling. I'm sure there's a better term, like jumping the shark. Oh, and by the way, I have to include that this video is sponsored by Alyssa from Washington State, and she just lives next door to the White House. So Captain Marvel is looking right through you, and so is Brie Larson. There was a scene in Star Trek 2009 where Kirk was exiled to a random planet. And then on that random planet, he randomly runs into Spock. And he also randomly runs into Scotty. And I'm thinking, how is that possible? That makes no sense. Since then, I've seen, 50 movies where the same kind of thing happens, where I'm thinking, this doesn't make sense though. And then I've come to realize that I'm just supposed to turn my brain off. Going back to that scene with Spock and Kirk and Scotty on that random planet. And I ask, why do they put that scene in that movie? It's when it's so astronomically impossible, literally astronomically impossible, to have the three of them show up on the same planet. Why would you bother with that? And the answer is because they wanted a scene with the three of those characters at that moment in the movie. So it doesn't matter if it makes no sense with the plot. Who gives a shit? We need to have, Kirk meet old Spock at that point in the movie for reasons of pacing and so the climax arrives at the right time. I'm seeing this pattern again and again in every movie, especially the Marvel movies. But everything, Game of Thrones, it's starting to take over this method of letting the money shots dictate the story, I guess. Brie Larson is more powerful than you. And I've noticed this in all of the Avengers movies, all of the Marvel movies. How did Hulk become Professor X? Or Professor Hulk? Don't worry about it, it just happened, don't worry about it. Oh, you could have made a big scene about it, but no, he's just the way he is. And I'll try to think of 5 more examples. Oh, it's everything. Loki's alive after Thor 1, after he fell into the abyss. He's alive. Okay, we're going to explain that? No explanations. Just move on. Thor, you have a daughter, Hela. I never told you about her before. We've known each other for thousands of years. Never once did I mention that you have a sister. My daughter Hela is your sister. And Thor doesn't say, what the fuck? Why would you not have told me about this by now? No, we just gloss over it because it was just important for him to reveal that information then, because it expedites the story, the pacing, right? I won't do 5. Then there's the staging fights, like when Tony Stark gets in fights with Iron Man, and when they have their little inner battles, Civil War, for example. They basically get in fights that are ridiculous. Like they could never be provoked like that. So they just basically, the movie makers are thinking, okay, it's like whatever, 45 minutes into the movie. Well, we're at the stage now where we need an action scene, and we need to have 2 people get in a fight. So we'll have Captain America and Thor, and we want to see them fight anyways. So we'll do that right now. And it's like, okay, so how do we make them want to fight? I don't know, man. Like maybe he dropped a banana peel. He slipped on a banana peel. And they just get into a big fight. It's like that's how they're writing. And earlier today, I was telling this to a friend of mine on the phone, and he goes, that reminds me of an interview I saw with a movie director. And he was doing some kind of movie where he had to... there had to be a Lamborghini on the top floor of a skyscraper. I guess I'm imagining so that the Lamborghini can like drive off the skyscraper. I don't know. I imagine it would be one of the Fast and the Furious movies. So the director says that I guess like the producers told him that he had to have a Lamborghini on the top of a skyscraper. And I have nothing against Lamborghinis on skyscrapers. My point is that I think movies are being made now, being written. Screenplays are being written based on like 4 or 5 big things. Like there's going to be a Lamborghini on the top of a skyscraper. So that's a major part of the plot. Okay, and they give them like it's like factories the way they work. They give them 5 scenes that have to happen, and then they say, and then now you guys connect the dots, and like who cares, whatever, just say you whatever. Say, time travel, whatever you want to say, but we need these scenes in the movie, and that's that. And the problem with that is that what suffers in the movie is everything aside from those 5 scenes. You might argue that the scenes between the big scenes are the ones that really build up the story. I also hated Star Trek 2, Beyond, I think it was called. Because, oh wow, so we're not even in space anymore. Now you're gonna bomb a building on Earth? Like, that's so Star Trek. Another example of this J.J. Abrams invention is when Rey in Star Wars, The Force Awakens, Rey runs into Han Solo on a ship in the middle of a galaxy. Like, what are the odds of that? The odds of this kind of shit happening is just so ridiculous, and you're supposed to turn your brain off. The luck in which these people meet each other in the middle of a galaxy. Right, you just gotta don't think about it, just accept it. Contrast with that with the original Star Wars movies, and I may be wrong, but I don't see a lot of things happening in those movies that were just up to chance. Like, oh, you just bumped into so-and-so in the middle of the galaxy, like the way Rey did with Han Solo. It was never like that. Everybody met up organically. Everybody. Yeah, there was nothing random. But now it's just like randomness. J.J. Abrams loves randomness, like especially in his sci-fi, where anything can happen because it's the big coincidence. It's fate, right? Fate. I guess he chalks it up to fate. He doesn't just say he's writing in a huge coincidence. He goes, no, it's fate, though. Yeah, that's probably exactly how he sees it. Look at me. I'm Brie Larson. Whisper a happy song, a happy melody into my ear. And I think it's a terrible form of storytelling, and it's gonna be like antiquated like really quickly. It's already almost done its stay. Some of the best stories do not have just like 5 set pieces. A good example would be Logan. Logan is a great example of a movie where they didn't just say we got 5 cool set pieces, construct the whole movie around that. There was not a lot of action, and the best parts of the movie were the parts where there were no action. And I don't have anything against action, but that should be insightful to all the assholes who only want to put action all the time. If you support gays, click like. If you respect blacks, comment. If you think women are people too, click the notification bell. And if you care about sick children, subscribe.